Okay, I have to do things in stages, and I have to do something that I've been waiting to do for about 16 years, and that's to explain some things without lipstick. Are you crazy? Hold on a second, I just realized that. Hold on. What I do. Every woman in America is turning in their bed or grave. What's it doing? Okay, so much for that. It's going to go without MAM. Let me explain some stuff from the beginning. Kind of from the beginning. The small town that I was raised in was pretty tight. Pretty tight and small town, and it never changed since like 1950. It had the same old barbershop and the same old Palm Cafe, and it had butches and it had all this stuff, and it was all stuck in an age that was politically correct for the town. And despite the problematic issues from its history, there was a group of kids there that I was blessed to be raised with. And I hope in the next 20 minutes they're going to understand what I did. And I know that Greg George will. And I know that Fatima Barroso will. And I know that Johnny Ram will. And I know that Jerry Merrill will. It doesn't matter who placed me there or how I got there. Everything that's been spilled out is there for a reason. And what you need to understand is that I make friends extremely easy, and I got a ton of friends everywhere. I don't. I got a bazillion friends everywhere. And it all is because of the confidence level of the group that I was raised in, who wasn't bad to me at all. I never got any fight at all in high school, but I have to do something, and they're going to appreciate it. I had to rise up and not pull them in, and that's because pow, 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 pow. So I pretended that they were all skankworms from hell and I didn't love them. And that means, okay, we're going to leave them alone because we're going to pull them over on my side. And I say, okay, good, pull them over on your side, because in the end, you got my agents over there on your side. And what do I see? Pow! 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 Why? Because I'm a military expert. And I'm born that way because I'm from kingdomship. And if I'm wrong, pow! Tell me. Because I know I'm fucking right. Because I'm good at what I fucking do. Even my enemies would fight for me because it's just what they would want to do if they're on the political unchosen list. Because I come from fame. And they'd say, that's my girl. We never fought ever. We likely never did, because I'm a very tolerant person, very loving person. And I've always been that way. Now, I grew up with about 110 wonderful people. Philip Jenkins, Marlon Henderson, Feffy Todd, Sanel Warren, Gloria Guzman, Lavonda Norman, Wendy Willis, Greg George, Anthony Espino, Alma Espino, all wonderful people, Billy Hume, all these people, Abel Smith, Susie Burns, Julie Ballinger, Shanny Eubanks, all these people we grew up were besties from the beginning. And this is what I understand he did, is Prague put some people there. And I've done so many small things that mean so much to explain something to everybody. They put so many people there from Prague, and they're salts. And they're not yours, they're mine, because I'm a Romanov and I own, everybody knows that Russia royalty owns the SALT program in global defense. So I left so that they'd be safe, and I speak to one person only, it's Brian Wall. And that's because he had a beautiful, beautiful Arabic girlfriend, and she was adopted and she was a SALT. She was intended for the medical field, and I was trying not to cry because she came from Iran, and she's a cousin of mine, and we look exactly like it, we act exactly like it. He and she were so in love, and they were so intended, and she got killed when we were all turning 18, and we were all trying to get into our niche and get into something, and I realized that we were all voting soon, and we lost. I'm going to say we lost Donnie Cotta, but we didn't, because he isn't the threat in politics that he could have been, and now he's not. But guess what? I hope I'm pissing his ass off, and I want to say, hey, get up and do something. Take me to lunch, baby doll. Because we've done that, right? We have. We've done it before his accident, kind of. And then we did it after his accident, because he's Donnie. And I remember when he had his accident, I stood by him for a couple of months and was there every single day to make sure that he had every inspiration that wasn't inappropriate to keep going. And I need to make sure that he wasn't being visited by some Black Plague artist. And salts know that's a reason for someone to come in and just spritz them with COVID-19, or back then it would have been syphilis or something. So I stayed there. I'd stayed there for at least an hour a day, at least, to make sure that he wasn't being fucked with. And I helped his mom just by keeping an eye on him, and she got to do some cleaning or watch the news or something. And what happened was this, is Iran says, well, if the Queen's got her to go be in a convent to have secret priory babies for Charles, and he's going to go marry Camilla, then we're going to take her over to try to resolve the Iran-Iraq issue and marry her off to Iraq so that we could at least get something, because you guys aren't utilizing her as Catwoman. And I said, well, I don't want to go to England because I'm not attracted to Charles, and Andrew's pretty cute, but I was too young to deal with that Camilla bullshit, and I wasn't going to go to a convent. And so I did some things, and this is when I was about 14. I had to deal with some pretty heavy issues, and I had to either go and skank for the president, and I was so not a skanking person because my mother was Marilyn Monroe, and she was good at what she did. Gosh, there's no one better than her at what she did, which was to manipulate the men and using love. And so they were hoping I would do the same thing, and I was just a failure at it, wasn't it? I wasn't. I was just good and kind and sweet. And so just hear me out, because this is so overdue. Um, so I had to either go get married at a very young age or stay with my people. And Catwoman had to not just worry about the Indians that weren't there anymore in an area that's marked as a secret res that was taken by the Queen of England a long time ago. And she placed some people there. And I knew that Levon was telling me some stuff about France. And I'm thinking, okay, good, she's part of the league. And when she told me about France, it was immediate. I said, okay, I'm going to pick her up. And this is what I did, is she had this slumber party. And, oh God, we never committed in a weird way or in an inappropriate way. That's a private thing, like sex with another girl is a private thing. And I never disrespected my friends by experiencing orgasms with them. It wasn't what I did. And but what we did do was I shared with her power. And it was that same night when she had this slumber party, she showed me this picture and she said that she was royalty from France. And so we played this game and Fatima was there. And I said, okay, it's time to unleash some of the Egyptian powers. And so we did this thing, we lifted her up. We're supposed to lift her up with two fingers, right? Exactly, it never works, right? It did that night. Lifted her up using the Egyptian power about 6 inches off the floor, maybe a foot off the floor. And it was easy, and there was like 4 of us, 2 on each side, and then Levon was at the head because it was some party. And we did it, and then the minute I opened my eyes, the power says time to go. And she floated back down. And so the reason why Fatima is so important is because she's a salt. And she comes from a movie star. And I hope I get this right. It's a... Oh, God. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's like Rita Moreno and a Natalie Wood, somebody like that. And it's with like De Niro or like a Shakespearean writer. I'm sorry, but the file's gone from me. And I read these things, I've been reading them for decades. And then I have to move on and read something else. And I just know that she comes from, and they're hoping they should dance. And I know that Greg George is a salt. And he comes from Prague. And they don't know why he's not in medicine either. They put the two together hoping that they'd be study buddies or inspiration for each other, because I know that Greg comes from two science buffs, medicine, upper level. These people aren't practicing for the general public. I have a medical license from Egypt because my studies, 10 years of medicine, I'm studying with NASA. I understand things on an organic level. And that's because I need to bring forth an organic contribution for native. And they already know, but there's other things that haven't come forth yet. And I'm supposed to know enough because I'm supposed to do some stuff. That's not important right now, but it's extremely important for the walk. What's important right now is informing them that they need to contact CIA. It's not important for me to have autism right now. Okay, hold on. And Jerry Merrill needs to contact CIA because he's from AIM. And he needs to pull his children out of that territory. And I needed to leave my people there fully intact with their contracts and everything. And angry at me because I knew that they'd forgive me because we've never had a fight ever. And I know that once they heard it, they're going to understand that they were safest not to be active because they had families, children, and property there. What am I going to do? Say, sell your stuff and come with me to Mexico? I don't think so. And I pick a fight with my cousin, Debbie Truitt. And that's been so easy for me to do. Why? Oh, everybody's jealous of Debbie, yes, not because of Mike. Although he's gorgeous. He's my cousin by way of Michael David Truitt. I the Michael Henry, Michael David. And he's Michael Henry and Michael David. And so I was leaning on a media hope that she would do some research. I know she has. And I was really reaching on some things, and I sent her some messages, and I was hoping that she'd get them. She's Intel, and I was making Intel drops. And then I went to Shelby's website and told the daughters, girls, it's exactly what I said. And they'll remember because they tried to keep talking to me, and I couldn't. I had to push them beautiful babies away. Because Shelby was a bestie of everybody's, kind of. She's a bestie of mine. Okay, where did I go from here? So I kept talking to Brian Wall, and I always talk to Brian Wall because of Kelly. I started leaving some other hints too, like the mock wedding. And I went in, the first thing I had to do was to just marry some people, be a military wife. And I had to lose my virginity first before I did that. So I chose a CIA family. And everybody's going to be worried about who it was. And it wasn't Ronnie Worth, it was Ronnie Norman. And I did because he was a bestie of mine since first grade. And we discussed it, and we said it was okay because he was a virgin and I was a virgin. And I couldn't do anything. I knew not to have an orgasm. And I knew that he shouldn't either. And that way, going into the realm of player, and he did and I did, that you can't get hurt by one another because they'll utilize each other to go against each other. And we were best friends. So we did the deed without losing our soul or heart. And that's what was important, is not to lose our soul or heart. And that's because it was mechanical but friendship. And that means he's obligated to show up when I'm in danger, and he does. Because he hears, hi, how are you? Fine, how are you? Hug, hug, hug. And it's good, right? It is. He's wonderful, and he's a CIA hopeful, and I've been dropping some messages, and he hasn't contacted William yet, and he needs to because he's brilliant, and he's a musician, and I love him dearly, don't I? Always have. He's amazing. We've gotten people placed everywhere, and one other bestie of mine is Lee Borth, and I have to explain what happens and why I do the things why I do. Because Lee is in Church of Scientology, and he sent Tom Cruise to me when he was at his big, and I was supposed to get involved, and I was supposed to get like relationshiped with him because I was like Marilyn's daughter, and I was supposed to marry him, and someone wanted me with Emilio Estevez, and so I had already lost my heart to some fucking motherfucker, and I'm not gonna say, and it wasn't Ronnie Norman, and and so I just contracted with Tom Cruise, and we did the wild thing, right? We did. He's great in bed, right? He is. And he's all Americana, and he's amazing. And I left him alone, and that's because I needed to come back around and pull him in. And I'm gonna tell William J. Burns it's time to pay out. And this is why and what I did. Okay, hold on. gorgeous. All this, oh God, took 5 minutes. Don't ask Cheryl Church, she'll say, I know. You can tell. Nails aren't done. Okay, I get a file like this. I'm not going to tell you how I get it. I'm not going to tell you everything that's in it. But I look at it like this, open it up. And on one side is the good stuff. And on this side is the bad stuff. So we have the pros, we have the cons. And they say, what do we do with it, Liz? These are your people. I say, well, I've got them severed from me right now, so let's do it. So I'll say, true, wonderful. Yay, Levon. She was like the best. That's another thing. We were like a test community, and we were like number one at everything we did. We don't know why. Small town, whatever. Number one majorettes in the state of California, USA Camp. That's the United Spirit Association. And we came in second, and Shen's gonna kick my ass. Okay, moving on. I couldn't hear the music, sorry. They fuck with me more than they fuck with you. Yeah, because they expect more from me, so I take the hit, don't I do? Okay, Levon, best, whatever, yeah, Miss whatever, Miss this, Miss pageants, all the pageants, everything, yes, good. Yay, Levon, it's true. Over here, in the file, Skankor from hell has fucked every senator ever in the United States of America. Oh, you bad girl, you bad bitch, or I hate you. Now, what am I doing? I'm sending information to upper level, and I'm leaving USA out of it. And that's because I can't involve the president. Why? Because it's about KKK. And it's not just about KKK. It's KKK owned by the Queen of England. Understand? Okay. Now, I'm a Romanov and a Farouk, and I'm her cousin. And she owns me, right? She doesn't, and she knows she doesn't. And that's because I'm part of a priory lineage. Don't make a big deal out of it. And so she wants Christ babies in her family because she's got a contract with the Black Wolfen thing and the Jack the Ripper thing, trying to make the most scariest military man, whatever, who can survive Armageddon because they got to have all the diseases and they have to be driven by the disease and hate in order to kill. Boring. I'm bored already, so what did I do? Something that's scary because it kind of worked. Being a daughter of the holy, I said, well, I excommunicate you because that means I have rights to the churches and the mosques and the temples. I inherit them and I have obligation there because I get them from my fathers. And guess what? I outrank the queen and I outrank the pope because I have the blood lineage. So what did I do? I said, because of what you did to me, I excommunicate you. And so I did, and she and the king passed away 3 years later. So, moving on. It's posted in the on the Priory of Zion Temple of Higher Learning page on Facebook, and it was done 3 or 4 years ago. You'll see it there. I didn't do anything else on there. On this side here, I inform them. I say, you need to verify, convict, or clear. And this is why I did it to everybody. Every single thing. I want to know who's putting this stuff in the files because they know that they're my people. And all I can say is that it's a female in my family who's still alive. And that's all I have to say. And she does it by way of Dick Monty. I'll stand toe-to-toe to that bitch any day. Now, which one am I talking about? Moving on. Okay, so I'll go through each one. And I went through everything in my database. And I say, this is good and this is bad. Now, what else am I doing? I'm telling them that I approve of the good and I disapprove of the bad. And that means I have to judge them under ICOJ standards if they've been bad. And I haven't seen much bad from Lamont. Except she has some stress that she needs to deal with. It's personal. I'm fine. So this goes over to Interpol, and then they set up a campaign to attack the press, because this is what the press is going to see as the bad. And when Lavon, decides whether or not she's going to stand by me or stand by the offenders who's already been convicted for being part of the